Welcome to the Gamers Who Talk Show, where we identify, reveal, focus, discuss, and resolve most of the world's greatest problems, ranging from social, political, economic, culture, and sports. In this episode, we'll be resolving issues concerning the effects of COVID-19 on youth and nation at large. Since the first case was recorded in this country, Kenyan lives have been forced to change in an attempt to curb the further spread of this novel coronavirus. In the show today, we have two guests who will help us in trying to resolve most of the issues that occur as a result of the coronavirus. So, gentlemen, first things first. What's your take on the way the government is handling COVID-19? Almas.
Personally, I think the government is doing something. This virus hit the world, and the government has to do something. So the government is doing something. That's my opinion.
Teddy?
I can say I think the government is trying its level best.
As an artist, we also understand that this COVID-19 virus has implicated negatively on new artists. Like right now, there are no social gatherings, there are no events, the clubs have been closed down. So how are you guys coping?
As an artist, it's not easy on us. It's as hard as it is on everyone else.
And you also know that you're a student, actually from the University of Nairobi. And currently, you see the institution is claiming that you guys are supposed to you should embrace e-learning services from online classes to online exams. How are you guys managing all these stuff now that we are during this pandemic? Some of you maybe have been displaced with floods, maybe there is no network, power outrage, maybe in your areas. How are you guys coping?
I'm glad that the university is doing something, because life has to go on. We can't come on a standstill because there's this virus here, but life has to go on, and education is part of life. So we are trying to continue with our education online. But on the other side, we have to consider the fact that there is pressure. There's for example, in my school, the online classes didn't go to completion, but then they want us to complete they want us to do the exams. Okay, during this pandemic, there's so much going outside. There's so much going on the outside. There could be a student in quarantine. There could be a student who has the virus. There could be a student who is nursing someone who has the virus. Okay, so it's a good thing that we are trying to put in the online learning so that education can go on. But we have to look into all these measures. There are guys on remote areas that don't have the internet, can't access the internet, the telecom internet that they gave us for bundles. So it's a good thing, but we need to look deep into it.
Teddy, okay, according to concerning the social impacts of this virus on actually the youth's life, what's your take? Because we've seen there is an high increase in the number of domestic violence, loss of lives, maybe due to the coronavirus itself, or maybe due to police brutality. What can you say about that?
The crippling effects of this virus is we cannot feel it. I think since the beginning of this pandemic, we have had a lot of extrajudicial killings that we have witnessed. We have also had high cases arising from domestic violence, up to I think 40%, and it's a sad thing. And I'm trying to imagine those who are stuck at home with very toxic partners and very abusive partners. So I also think this is where now the civil society and come up with an action plan to support e-learning, I think that's a stretch for us, and it's something that it's gonna need a lot of planning for it to be effective. But right now, I don't think it's gonna work, because imagine this, yeah, there's somebody who is in a rural area somewhere where he has to struggle with power connectivity, he has to struggle with the network coverage and all that. And if we want to argue in terms of e-learning, then we have to assume that these people have a computer or perhaps a phone. But do we all have smartphones? So I think there are very important details that the government should really consider before they roll out that plan. But is it effective? Maybe for the middle class. But for our children who are from the lower tier of the society.
There we have it, lots of concerns and views from our panelists. Right now we're going for a short break. Once we come back, we'll talk about stigmatization and assess the economy of the country. And of course, with our artist Almasi on stage, we'll also discuss about the 100 million issued by the government to the artist. Don't go far, stay tuned. Welcome back to the Gamers You Talk Show, where we identify, reveal, focus, discuss, and resolve most of the world's greatest problems. Back to my panelists. Ted, great things first. What do you think about stigmatization of maybe the recovered COVID-19 patients and the healthcare workers and their families now that they are receiving some of stigmatization from the public?
It's wrong, because this is just a virus and anybody can catch it like a flu.
Anybody can get it.
Yes. So if anybody is unfortunate enough to get this virus and they survive out of it, then I think it's such a beautiful thing. So what the society should do is, let's just accept these people, because it changes nothing. The fact that somebody got a virus doesn't mean he or she is a daredevil, you know. So I would urge all the citizens out there. These are people who we know. They are our loved ones, they are our friends, they are family members. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they got a virus doesn't make them strangers to us. Yeah. So let's just accept them. Let's continue with our lives. The greatest thing is that they overcame the implications of this virus and they came out of it alive. So I think that is the most important thing. But stigmatization, no, it's not just that.
Okay. Well, so recently the government issuing 100 million to the artists. Do you think it was the best way for the government to nurture talent during this pandemic period?
Not really, not quite, if you ask me. That's my honest opinion. And that just shows the mispriority of this government. And they've been doing it over and over again, and this time they were at it yet again. I think what the government should have done is that put that money somewhere where it could have been essential. 100 million is a lot of money, right? And I'm not saying it's wrong to support our upcoming and very talented artists, no. But I'm just saying that disbursing that money, considering this time, was not very accurate, because we have a lot of things that money could have done. Right now, we are being told that we are lacking, equipments and things that would help us in the fight of this virus. But once you disburse such kind of money, that was not really necessary, if you ask me. It was not really necessary. I think what the government should have done, we have our media houses, we have TV, we have radios, and we have other forms of media, right? What this government ought to have done, let's just take a few faces, right? Those that people identify with their brands, and let's just help them out of goodwill so that they help us to send a message. That's how it's being done in other countries. Sorry. But I think that move was uncalculated and it was completely misprioritized. Yeah, that's my take.
As an artist, what is different? Because like you can see with the pandemic, everything has changed. And what do you think the youth artists actually can do in order to contribute towards curbing the spread of this virus? I want you to tell me what you guys are doing specifically, and then maybe tell me, was it the best way for the government to like maybe help in nurturing talents in the country?
There's one thing with entertainment. It hits the subconscious part of the brain, and the subconscious part of the brain makes us forget that there is something going on which is not a very positive thing, the virus.
Yeah.
So entertainment is going on online. Guys are doing TikTok videos, guys are freestyling on dances and stuff, and this is giving us the strength to continue with life and do our things, because it's entertainment. And so as artists, we are still doing freestyles, we are still dancing on the internet and posting for people to see, so that guys are home and they don't have anything to do. So that means that they're going to be on their phone. So if someone is on their phone and you can find them on their phone by doing something that's going to entertain them, that's what we're doing. We are pushing more entertainment on people.
And of course, Tate, as a business student, okay, what do you think when it comes to matters of assessing the economy of the country? Like for example, with the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises, initially youth ventured into some kind of business in order to like hustle their way through life. What do you think the government should do?
I think young people are suffering, and unfortunate enough, we hear nobody talking about it. And even when the president rolled his stimulus package, we have not heard about his plans for the youths in that stimulus package. Because look at it this way, there could be a fresh graduate who may be secured a job on contractual terms. Right now I'm trying to imagine they've lost that job, because right now companies are shutting down. The economy is sinking as days goes by. So this person is one having to part with some money for his bills. He has to pay rent, he has to sustain himself, but there's no source of income, right? And right now, the economy, we cannot really say we are in a position of companies hiring, because nobody is willing to hire. Instead, what we are seeing is a retrenchment, people losing their jobs and being sent home for permanent leave or leave without pay. So youths have been caught in all this, and I think it's also a grave concern as we also plan to reopen our economy. I think we should pay very close attention. The committee that is going to steer this reopening of the economy and how we are going to come back on our feet, I think they need to address areas to do with labor immobility, things like higher employment, and also things to do with, they have to deal with things like companies giving young people opportunities for attachments, industrial attachments, and such like kind of stuff.
And due to the pressure like the government is experiencing currently in their facilities, maybe the isolation centers and the quarantine facilities, they've also come up with mechanisms about home isolation. In your case, do you think it is efficient when it comes to now matters pertaining collective responsibility? What do you think is the efficiency of home isolation?
Well, my take is I think it's very efficient, because those are one of the guidelines that the World Health Organization gave. And if you look at it keenly, it's just a matter of logic. Because if everybody keeps going to the hospital soon, we'll be having our health systems overwhelmed. And as the number keeps, shooting, then we are going to be at such a tight spot, and we'll be having our healthcare system not able to accommodate the large numbers. But one thing I understand with this virus is that it has three, we can look at it from three angles. There are those who can get the infection and just get better, depending on the immunity. There are those who just needs that isolation and a little bit of treatment, and now they can get better. And there are those now who can now, when they get the infection, it will be very, weighty. So these are the ones that we see ending up in the intensive care unit. So assuming that the two categories can get better, and then why not? Why don't we just isolate ourselves, and then so that we don't really overburden our healthcare system, with the little resources we have, so that we try to manage the little that we have. But also, I think it's the role of this government to build more capacity so that we may find a way to accommodate all these people. And I think that is something that the government should be really considering right now. But if the question of is it effective? Yeah, I think it is.
Well, why do you think there is still an increase in the number of these COVID-19 cases, despite the government showing some signs of maybe easing these stringent measures?
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so personally, like humanly, I'm tired. And I think every human is tired of not being normal, not living normally.
Yeah.
And people are already starting to move outside, starting to get back to their normal lives, but the virus is still here. So what does the virus do? It still gets into us, and then the number is increasing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the numbers keep increasing because Kenyans have literally thrown all caution to the wind, and we have seen a little bit of normalcy. And partially, I think this is because it might have been misconstrued by the fact that the government opened some sectors of economy, and we are not on a total lockdown, right? And that's one thing I want to appreciate the government, because it's a very hard decision to make, to just declare a total lockdown. Because considering the kind of economy that our country has, it could really affect a lot of lives. Then secondly, I think it's because the government shifted from now focusing or trying to draw an action plan towards mass testing to now only focusing the testing within the hotspots, right? Those areas like were discovered that this virus now are giving us the daily numbers that were running on our screens. And of late we have seen Madare being on the few informal settlements like Isili. Then there is also Mombasa. So if we only assume that we want to put a lot of strict measures within hotspots, I think that is not really the best way to go about it, right? I think what the government should really do is that let's just look for a way so that we try to levelize the efforts of trying to curb this disease. Because we have also noticed that a few Kenyans are also using other routes to get out of the places that were declared to be under lockdown. So assume I travel from Mombasa and I have the virus. Then I make my way to South Nyanza or Western. Then somebody in Western or South Nyanza is at a higher risk of contracting the virus. So I think the government should just try and relook and reorganize itself on how it can roll an action plan to just keep all of us safe and alive.
On this issue of talents, I'm still on you, the future of talents. What do you think, or what is your take on this one? If this pandemic persists, do you think it will contribute towards the growth or loss of talents, generally?
growth of talents. At the moment, currently, you go to the internet, you'll realize there is an increase in the number of guys creating YouTube channels. So that simply implies that guys are venturing more on their talents and stuff that they can do at home, because they don't have other stuff to do. Because if I'm a student, and right now there are no classes and I don't have to do my classes, then I'm a youth, and youths are creative. So the rate of creative arts is increasing, and that's one of the positive stuff in during this pandemic. So I think if this thing continues, then there's going to be an increase in talents, in people looking more into their talents.
But then, if you see, there'll be increase in talents, yes. But where there's no the social events have been banned, so where will you guys perform? Do you want to say that if this pandemic persists, you guys will spend more of your time marketing yourselves, like maybe online on social media platforms like YouTube channels? Don't you guys think that more of artistic work is always there on the social events? You see, like for example, like with your brand, you see Almasi is a brand, and you've been performing, like for example with Go to Game, you see. So do you think the growth of this talent through social media and not social events is enough?
Humans we adapt fast. So when this thing continues and we don't have any other option, we still need to get our entertainment. Then we get it on the phone, we get it on online. So it will be more of online, and we'll be putting more content online than offline.
Right.
Yeah.
On the collective responsibility, in order to maybe curb the further spread of this virus, what can you, in a general opinion, advise the general public to do in order to help or maybe join those who are in the forefront to fight this coronavirus? Teddy.
First of all, what I would say, Kenyans, this virus is very real, and we have seen its effect and how it has brought the whole world to its knees. That is the first thing. So we need to take as much precaution as possible. Let's follow those guidelines. Let's follow what our government is trying to tell us. Because at the end of the day, there's tomorrow. And even during these trying moments, we just have to try to live. My advice to the government is this. Let's focus on reopening our economy, at the same time considering how we can contain this virus. So that calls all of us to take individual responsibility to just try and do what is right without really being pushed.
All right, thanks, Teddy. Almasi?
As much as it's very okay to be sad at this moment, and it's hitting us more on the negative. I'm going to urge my fellow youths and everyone outside there to share more happiness than we share sadness. We are sad at this moment here, but let's keep it more happy than sad, because we are humans, and when we dwell more on the negative side, we get to the negative side. So my advice to you is, let's share more happiness than we share sadness. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys for making time for the show, and to the entire production team that has made this show success. Thanks to our viewers, and that's all we had in this episode. Stay tuned for our next episode. Also feel free to comment, share and subscribe, so that because we value your feedback for our next episode. Thank you.